Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to Wizard World virtual experiences as the crowd emojis wildly. You can also clap, make some noise in the comfort and safety of your home. Hopefully, you're sitting with your family or your loved one, or just chilling by yourself. Getting very excited for this Pirates of the Caribbean panel. I know I am. I've been a huge fan since the first movie came out over 20 years ago. Oh, no, probably like 17 years ago now. And I can't wait to bring some of these cast members out here in just a second. A couple of quick housekeeping things. Whether you're watching this live or watching it later in the week, just know that this panel, while free, there are some additional paid experiences you can interact with. So pick your favorite actor, pick all 7 of them, and head to wizardworldvirtual.com. Click on the Pirates of the Caribbean cast and get those one-on-one video chats. That's right, it's you and your celebrity of choice in a Zoom room just hanging out. They also are doing autographs and video recorded messages, so definitely take advantage of those as well. Again, those can be found at wizardworldvirtual.com. Don't forget to head to the vaults, wizardworldvault.com. We don't have physical conventions right now, but we still want to support our amazing artists and vendors. So a lot of their artwork, their memorabilia from past conventions and past virtual experiences is up on the wizardworldvault.com. So definitely take a look at that. Without further ado, let's bring out this crew, everybody. I usually say crew, and it just is referring to a random group of people, but we literally have a crew coming out here right now. We've got a ton of people in the chat already, hanging out all over the world. We've got British Columbia, Canada, obviously across the U.S., California, Ohio, Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Texas, New York, Edinburgh, Scotland is in the house, Washington State. Also watching. So shout out your country or your state that you're watching from. A ton of Pirates fans in the chat already. We have at Pirates Life is watching, said, ahoy, mateys. Hazel Pethick says, can anyone get some rum? We're always out of rum, always out of rum. Captain Jack Savvy is on as well. We need a Pirate 6. We'll obviously talk a little bit about that at the end. Autumn Wales says, watch the first Pirates of the Caribbean last night with the family. So thanks, everyone, for being here. We're super excited to have you. Let's bring this cast out without further ado. First off, this first gentleman is an actor of stage, television, and film, most recently in the film Stargirl. He is a voice actor known recently for the Assassin's Creed video game trilogy, Constantine, City of Demons, and Justice League action. He played Lieutenant Gillette in Curse of the Black Pearl and then returned in On Stranger Tides. Please give it up for Damien O'Hare.
Hello, how are you?
Damien, first I have to thank you for returning for On Stranger Tides because of that, we cover the entire franchise. So thanks for being here and thanks for coming tuning in today.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Looking forward to seeing some familiar faces, you know.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. Just you're all seeing each other for the first time in the pre-call brought a smile to my face. So I can't wait for everyone who's watching, all the hundreds of people watching around the world to see you all. So let's keep this party rolling. Speaking of a prolific voice actor, he is the voice of every main character in nerd video games over the past 10 to 15 years. He's Lurch in the Lord of the Rings games, Soundwave in Transformers, Sagat in Street Fighter, and currently Thanos in a majority of the Marvel video games. Most recently, you saw him as a Twi'lek in The Mandalorian just a few weeks ago. He is the first mate to Captain Barbossa. Bosun, please give it up for Isaac Singleton Jr.
Well, hello there, everybody. How y'all doing?
There's the voice of Thanos. There he is, right there. Isaac, thank you so much for being here. We love having you.
Oh, my pleasure.
So excited. Let's keep the crew. Let's keep Barbossa's crew coming on out here. He is star of TV and film. He's been on Star Trek and Seinfeld. Recurring role as the dwarf Grumpy in the television series Once Upon a Time. He is Pintel in the first 3 Pirates movies. Let's hear it for Lee Arenberg.
What's up, y'all? Hello, puppets.
You knew someone was going to ask for it, Lee. So it was good to just get
it out of the way early, baby.
If only you could have done it with like a closet door and just like.
God, I'll do anyone's video chat, and you can have it forever.
Oh, so cool. Thanks for being here, Lee. We talked about this beforehand. I love the hat. It's a nice cross reference, but you're actually a Raiders fan in real life too. It's not just because they've got a very cross and skull bone symbol.
It's a good season to be a pirate. It's a good season to be a pirate.
Oh, there we go. We got a couple of fans in the house. Let's keep it going. Let's move from Barbossa's crew to Jack Sparrow's motley crew. He is the longest tenured member coming out today in 4 out of 5 films. He is a prolific actor of television and film. He is in one of my favorite cult horror franchises, Feast. For any of you horror nerds out there, he's been on the show Scrubs, countless television appearances. He's a stunt performer, most recently in Jurassic World, and he plays Pirate Marty. And he is indeed shares the same name. It's Martin Kleba, everybody.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, Marty. How's it
I
going?
like to be cool, like, hello, pulpit.
Yeah, you don't have any cool the Pintel. The Barbossa's crew had more of the like strong piratey characteristics. You know what I mean? And Jack's crew was like definitely more of like the working man.
We were zombies. Don't forget, we started out in a bad way. Cursed pirates.
True.
I mean, Martin, it was hilarious. I looked this up, and I want to get everybody else here, but real quick, I remember you obviously clearly from all the movies, but I was like, I don't remember his pirate's name. And when I saw it was Marty, I was like, man, they didn't even give him a name. They didn't even give him. They were like, we're just going to use your real name, Martin. You're going to be Marty the pirate.
Well, actually, it was supposed to be Butch, but Gore changed it to Marty because it was always Marty do this, Marty do that, and it just ended up switching. So, because you never hear them call me that until Pirates 2, but it was always just Marty do this, Marty do that. So it just got switched to Marty.
That's so funny. That's so funny. It's crazy how stuff like that happens on film sets. It's always fun to hear those stories. Let's get everyone else out here. She is a film and frequent television guest on stars like Star Trek, Criminal Minds, Bones, countless TV shows. We know her best in the U.S. as the Orbit Gum Girl, of course, that long series of television commercials, which were so amazing. She plays one of Jack's lady friends in Tortuga, alongside with Scarlett. In fact, those two characters of Giselle and Scarlett were so popular, there's actually a spin-off film, or a short film, Pirates of the Caribbean: Tales of the Code Wedlock. Please welcome to the virtual stage Vanessa Branch, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I would slap you all, but it doesn't work as well virtually.
Vanessa, like as you said that, at Captain Jack Savvy watching on YouTube went slap.
No surprise. No surprise. I've done many of them.
Also, thank you for bringing some nice female presence to the panel. It would have been just a rowdy thing here, and you brought some civility to the panel, so we appreciate it.
I love being the only woman. It makes me very happy.
Amazing. Well, thanks for being here, Vanessa. And last but not least, he's been waiting patiently in the wings. Let's get him out here. You've seen him recently on Last Ship, Golden Revenge, American Horror Story, another pirate and Captain Hector Barbossa's crew aboard the Black Pearl, Master of Grenades. Jacoby, let's hear it for, oh my gosh. I got the cue wrong there. Sorry. Let's hear it for Vince Lozano.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
What's up, Vince? Sorry, Vince, my screen was switched over. Nice to have you here, Vince. So good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, awesome, man.
We wanted to give a quick shout out. We were supposed to be joined by, I know your all good friend, Trevor Etienne. He was so excited to be here, and just unfortunately last minute had a personal family issue that he had to deal with. But he just wanted to shout out to all of Pirates Fans Nation, just saying my best wishes and apologies to all the Pirate crew fans out there. Have a great session. So I know I speak on behalf of myself and then the cast and of course all the fans out there. We wish him well. We wish his family and his friends well. And we can't wait to see him again. His autographs and one-on-one chats are still on sale. So hopefully will be available next weekend. So again, if you'd like to hang out with Trevor, definitely take advantage of those. But again, our love goes out to him and his family at this time. We got the crew out here, everybody. This is amazing. We got some of Barbossa's crew, some of Sparrow's crew. We have some of the Tortuga, and then Damien. Thank you for rounding it out with the British soldiers here. We've got all sides of the conflict. We have a lot of fan questions already coming in the chat. People are so excited. Regina Queen just said, my inner child self is internally screaming, seeing all these castmates. Everyone is super stoked. But I want to start with what I feel like is the most important question that we're going to ask today. And that is it pronounced Caribbean or Caribbean? Let's do, we've got one for Caribbean. Caribbean.
It's Caribbean. They were the Carib Indians.
Yeah, right?
They're the Caribs, so it's for sure Caribbean.
Yeah, that's what I think. Isaac, are you gonna?
That was a
I
British
say
American
Caribbean
difference.
also.
Yeah, I thought that was a British American difference in the pronunciation, but
it is a British. Yeah, I mean they say Caribbean in England and in the UK and stuff, and Caribbean over here. But
yeah.
I think actually I remember Gore saying everyone it should be Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I think that to everyone's point, and to Lee's sort of etymology point, that is the correct pronunciation, Caribbean. And I don't know where Caribbean came from. I think it's sort of when people use it as an adjective, you know, and they just say like the Caribbean islands, like super quickly. You know, us Americans though, we botch all the pronunciations up and just flatten everything out. But yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. This is so amazing. Again, the movie came out 2003. I remember at the time when they announced it, it was sort of not taken as a joke, but you know, people were like, they're gonna make a movie. This was like, it was a Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. Both were announced like, hey, we're gonna make these movies based off of these rides, and everyone wrote it off. Everyone was like, this is gonna be silly. This is gonna be stupid. It's not gonna be impactful. It's not gonna be a great movie. And then, boy, did you all surprise like the heck out of movie-going fans. Gore Verbinski came in, obviously, with this amazing writing staff, Ted Elliott, Terry Rossio, and they put together, and obviously we can't, you know, throw away Johnny Depp's performance, but really all of you all came in and put together this epic action swashbuckling film that we just like really needed at that time. I think there was a bit of a drought in like summer blockbuster movies, and now has led to, you know, obviously 5 films. It maybe 6 or 7 or spinoffs coming up. It's taken over the ride at Disney, so the film has surpassed the actual ride. Talk a little bit about that sort of underwhelming kind of expectations that people went into, and then seeing that like flip as becoming one of the most successful franchises of all time, both monetarily and just fan wise. Yeah, Damien. Yeah.
Well, just from sort of my point of view, as you said, you mentioned the script, and every sort of success comes, that it comes from the words in the script and stuff. And I remember at the time, I mean, it's amazing to see all these faces. Some of these guys I haven't seen, and Vanessa I haven't seen since 2002. I think we filmed it. Yeah. But it was such a great ensemble piece. That's what, you know, obviously Johnny is the sort of main man in it and everything, but I remember being on set and everyone was abuzz with how great the actual work was. And with us at the time, there was a feeling that it was going to be a success. It couldn't be a success, or it couldn't not be a success, because, you know, we could, it's very rare when you do a job that you can actually feel a sort of frisson on set and stuff, like, you know, and we knew, you know, it had to be a sort of a success, because it was so well written and so well performed, and you could see people just jumping into it, and it was great.
It was so incredible. You would be on set and you literally felt like, I remember the very first morning when I shot in the Caribbean, because we did stuff in LA first, and we were taking a shuttle over to where Tortuga was and where the pirate ships were, and you know, you're on this boat at sunrise in St. Vincent, and you come into this beautiful bay that looks like you're in the 1700s, and the entire experience was just so incredible and authentic, and you really felt like you stepped back in time. There was no way, I mean, didn't even think that it wasn't going to be a success. It was just, the entire thing was incredibly well done.
But yeah, I'll say too, like I give a lot of credit to like obviously Gore. Gore was the man. Any film, it's always got to be led by like the director in a film is the number one. He had a kick-ass script. I mean, you're absolutely right. The play's the thing, and they were there, but his energy was always number one. He was always having the most fun on a rainy day. He'd be in his Gorton fisherman outfit and like
smoking the big cigars.
Yeah, he was like loving it. It was like, he was like Colonel, Kilgore in Apocalypse Now, as the bombs were exploding, looking for surf, you know?
Or Hannibal in the A-Team. I love it when
and Jerry Bruckheimer. I mean, let's not. We should be saluting Jerry, because Jerry makes movies that he wants to see, and he had like the balls to like go for it with a pirate movie when, you know, and stick with Johnny when the studio didn't know what Johnny was. And we're all like, what is that guy? It was freaking Jack Sparrow 2 light years ahead of everybody. Yeah. Right. And
yeah, that character he came up with was spectacular.
Gore and Jerry saw all that. Yeah, absolutely. And And then the studio bet on Haunted Mansion, right? They thought that was going to be their big hit. So there weren't toys, there weren't tie-ins. And the audience, this movie was in the theater for like a year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it took a while for it to. I mean, it made a ton of money in its opening weekend, but then it stuck. People went back and saw it 2 times, 3 times. You know what I mean? Which
fans
is crazy.
made us. I mean, I just want to make sure, like, a shout out to Pirate Nation out there, and every success I've had in my career, the shows that have really taken off, it's because the fans get into it. And
well, I think they also didn't. I don't think they understood that there was actual pirate groups of people out there that loved doing pirates long before Pirates of the Caribbean came out. I mean, I've been going to Ren fairs since I was in my teens.
Yeah.
And even when I was in college, I was living in Florida, I'd go to Ren fairs, and they'd have pirate days out there then because they loved pirates back before the movie came out, because people have been in this pirate culture long before this. And they didn't realize how many fans of pirates were out there. And then when they saw a movie like that, then it just even blew up even more.
You know, when it was going to be a hit. Remember we had that party, New Year's. Was it no, it was a Super Bowl party, and at the bar, and they showed the trailer for the first time, and we all went nuts, and we were like, "Wow, we finally know what we're a part of," because we were all dressed up, and we were. Lee, myself, we wake up at 4 a.m, be in makeup for 2-3 hours. We didn't know what the heck we were a part of. But when we saw that trailer, I remember all of us looking at each other going, "Oh shit."
And it was like
Super Bowl too, and the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl that day also.
What?
So
oh my!
Over the Raiders.
Yeah.
but two pirate teams. It was like the Stars and the Lions, you know, the Raiders and the Buccaneers. Man, it was incredible.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's an awesome trivia fact about the Pirates trailer. Yeah, that's hilarious.
We actually shot a commercial for the Super Bowl. Remember that? But they didn't use it.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that.
With a soccer ball in it.
Martin, go ahead. Yeah, Martin, go ahead. Talk a little about your experience.
They had Johnny and a bunch of us, and then Orlando and a bunch of us, and we were going like, "Go Raiders, go Bucks." And I thought it was supposed to open the Super Bowl from what I believe. But I guess they didn't get the can back then in time to get it set up for the actual Super Bowl. So they scrapped that idea and then just aired a commercial for the trailer for the movie instead. But we had a whole thing. Remember, I think you guys were out there being on one of the boats.
Yeah.
Half and half, and it was kind of crazy. It was kind of cool.
It was crazy.
Gosh, and here we are, 2020. Tom Brady's the quarterback of the Buccaneers. What's happened to the world since the early days of 2000s? No, it's so cool to hear you could feel that excitement in the film. You know what I mean? And like you said, credit to Jerry and Gore for bringing that out, and then Ted and Terry for putting it in the script. Dan Neal, who's watching, says beautiful sets, wonderful scripts, pure magic, and that's really what it is. It's a magical film. You feel like you're being whisked away. And Isaac, to your point, there really hadn't been a good, strong pirate movie like that before. So for all those fans of pirates, you know what I mean? Like as a subset of
and also, part of the brilliance, Mike, I thought too, script. And it was actually a secret too of Once Upon a Time was with these Disney, Disney has so many fans that the writers that they honored the pirate ride with images and they built that into the characters, the dog with the keys, the gives in the mud, and so that said to me, like, I always thought that was like just a way to say to your audience, we want you, this is your pirates that we're telling the story of, but we're just changing a little bit. Will you come for this ride? And that led by Johnny. I mean, think about Kira became a huge movie star in Orlando. We watched these young actors explode, and
he was 17 at the time. Her mother had to be there as her chaperone. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Zoe too. Zoe Saldana.
Zoe,
Zoe, exactly. Saldana. Totally.
She's done now. She hasn't moved on to do anything. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Zoe, who's Zoe Saldana? It's great when you see her too in the movie. Obviously, I mean, you guys know, but as nerds, so she's got her hat down, and then when you rewatch it, she picks it up, and you're like, oh my gosh, Zoe Saldana. But at the time, she was just Zoe Saldana. You know what I mean? Oh, so cool.
There's a lot of slapping in that movie, I noticed. I mean, there's a whole lot of slapping, if you notice. I mean, even I got to slap somebody, so you know.
Yeah.
Vanessa was the main slapper. Got to slap Johnny Depp. How, you know, it's an iconic scene. It became a recurring joke, obviously, throughout the series. I know you've probably gotten asked this before, but how was it slapping, you know, faux slapping Johnny Depp?
That's the question you're asked most often ever if you're
sure,
a slapper, as we called. I mean, you know, who doesn't want to do anything really with Johnny Depp? I mean, he was so incredibly lovely to work with and fun, and you know, and we slapped Orlando too. And I mean, it was just always fun and a great experience, you know.
Awesome.
And I've had people come up to me and be like, well, you slapped that woman in that movie. Like, I didn't really slap her. It was part of the script. It wasn't like I wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I had so many people come and be like, I liked it when you slapped her. I'm like, really? Why? Why? It's so funny. They come up and say that to me a lot, though.
Well, yeah, talk about the fans. We have a ton of them right now. Hazel Pethick just said you feel like you're part of an exclusive crew when you watch the films. And I think that sums it. Yeah, I think that sums it up really nicely. Talk about the fans. One of our fans is saying, Hazel Pethick continues, do you realize how many iconic phrases would come out of the film that are still quoted today? Obviously, Vanessa, we talked about the slap. Lee, we hello puppet. My gosh, you must be haunted, but also proud of that moment. You know what I mean? It was a huge part of the trailer.
And I'll tell you something, that's like, that's where good writing is. That was all that because this was like such a big flick, right? There's no ad-libbing. This was all created by the writers, gone through the studio chain. And then it comes down to the actors. And I swear it was days of fax machines. Like, so the audition, I read that scene, the audition scene, and it was like, blah, blah, blah. She's in the closet. Hello, Poppy. You know, it's in the words. That was a beautiful script. I still saved them all. It's good literature.
I mean, the writers are, I mean, Ted and Terry are incredible. I mean, obviously so prolific and have done so many things. And here's an interesting thing about the writing. Lee, I know you know this. I don't know if you other guys know this, but that in the third Pirates, when Lauren and I, Scarlett and Giselle, walk off with Kevin at the end of the movie, that wasn't actually in the script originally. We were up super late one night at like 4 a.m, and Kevin and Lauren and I are all dear friends, and we'd all had too much to drink, and we're having so much fun. He kept calling us Emerald and Sapphire, and so they liked that relationship so much that they created that scene the next day because they thought that, you know, there was a lot of chemistry there. And so they're such amazing writers. I mean, to be able to not only write such beautiful scripts, but then come up with those things when they see an interesting relationship that they can, you know, take somewhere else. It was great. It was magical.
Any other standout moments from others in terms of, so Brianna Nicole Casey is asking specifically about being first cast, so like kind of the audition process. Lee, you mentioned that a little bit, but then Eleanor Teddy Blumenthal is asking like favorite lines or favorite moments. Vanessa, you're kind of talking a little bit about how they worked, you know, the script writers worked around you all at times. Any other favorite moments from others in terms of like the audition process through early filming?
Well, for me, I think I was the last guy that got cast. It brought in. So I remember coming in, having one line, and then being told I was going to work a couple weeks, and I go, okay, great, whatever. But then when we were in Long Beach, Gore comes up to me. He's like, hey man, I like what you're doing. We're going to keep you on throughout. I'm like, oh really? What is that? Throughout. So throughout to the end. 6 months later. So it was a blast. But you know, I just remember going in, auditioning and improvising, and just did it. And the next thing you know, boom, you get booked. You never know.
I think the interesting thing is the people don't understand what it was like to be on the Black Pearl when it was in P1, when we were just on a barge with 500 people having to share like 2 porta-johns. Every time we had to reshoot, we had to be towed because we had a tugboat out there to pull us back into position, you know, because it didn't have a motor. So it's like, those were some long days.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
14, 15-hour days, which, didn't hurt the pocketbook, but I mean, being on something for that long, think about it, 500 people using 2 porta-johns. You never had a hot lunch, right? It was always a box lunch. So, you try to feed everybody.
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember it, but I had a great time. I don't know. I was having a great time. And it were long days. My makeup alone was 3 hours because I had to put every last one of those little dots on my skin, all those keloid marks all over me, then paint me with this brownish colored makeup to make me look kind of sweaty and dirty. 3 hours every single day.
Well, we would write. You and I think we wake up at the same time, like at 3 a.m, be on that shuttle.
Mm-hmm. But my audition process was fun because my audition scene was that scene where they bring Kara on the boat for the first time, and I have interaction with them, and I smack her and tell her to speak when spoken to. So a lot of fans want me to sign that whenever I sign their autographs. Or the other scene where she's looking at Orlando, we've got her on the plank, and I'm like, too long. I stamp on the plank, and she falls off into the ocean. For some reason, the fans like for me to be violent. I don't understand it, but okay. It's what you earthlings love violence for some reason. But I don't mind. But it was just fun. It was a great time all the time. I was just having a great time to be finally, you could see my face. Because before that, I was doing movies like Planet of the Apes, 4-hour makeup every single day. You could hear my voice, but you didn't hear who it was. I was in Galaxy Quest before that, 3-hour makeup every single day to put that thing on. So I was just glad people could see my face finally, because I just moved to LA in like a year and a half before that. So
poor baby.
I think my makeup took all of 5 minutes, so I was lucky. all we were told, being the sort of pasty-faced Englishmen, was just to keep out of the sun, and especially in LA and thing, it was like 90 degrees every day, in the Caribbean. It was just. I remember just having such fun, but being overwhelmed. I'd only done like one. I think I was like 20, 21 at the time or something. I'd just recently come out of drama school, and I'd done one TV episodic before in the UK, and then suddenly to be flown to LA, it was a different world, We had the read through in the Viper Room on Sunset Boulevard, and so I was like picked up by a stretched car in the morning and driven to the Viper Room because Johnny Depp owned the Viper Room at the time. And and that's the only reason he wanted to do the read through there, so he could smoke while he did the thing, because he owned the building when we were doing the read through. I remember looking out the window and seeing the Whiskey A Go Go, and I was always a huge Doors fan when I was like 16, 17, and just going, my God. And then walking on the set for the first time and seeing the castle at the start, where at the start of the film, when Kira faints and everything and then falls off just the sheer size of it, and this thing was actually built to scale. It was incredible. It was incredible. It was amazing, and all the extras and everything, supporting artists. It was just an amazing experience. Incredible.
I love to hear the 3 or 4 hour makeup stories, and then Damien, just stay pasty, Damien. If you could just stay out of the.
Lauren and I were 5 minutes too. We just they threw some white powder on us and a little bit of red stuff, and then it was 3 hours getting the corset on.
How about that wig?
But all these other guys looked sexy, and the sort of pirate outfit and everything. Look good. The sort of wigs on and the tri-cornered hats and the white face, it was like.
Lauren had a wig. I had no wig. They just ratted this up, and I just left it ratty, and that was that.
Well, I didn't have a uniform to wear, so I just had no shirt. I just had on my Baldric, a pair of pants, and some boots, and in my gun. So that was it. I didn't have a shirt or anything like that, so it was easy to dress me. But I was already in 3-hour makeup at that point, so. Yeah.
Well, and you're all talking about very specific makeup and costume choices, but that's what makes the film stand out. You know what I mean? And sure, you have Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, Johnny Depp. They're the main characters, but we remember all of you. Like Vince, you were talking about how they kept you on because you were doing so well. Yeah, we remember Grenade Pirate Guy. You know what I mean? We didn't necessarily know oh, that's Jacoby or that's Bosun, but everyone stood out and really was such an ensemble piece. We remember Damien, when you came back again in 4, I was like, oh man, he was in the first one. You remember all of those little individual characters. Right? Yeah, did they just come out of nowhere with that?
Come out of nowhere. I was up in
so funny.
I was back in the UK and I got a phone call from my agent just saying, you know, the Pirates have been in touch, and so where have they been for the last 10 years? And they want to do you want to come back? And it's a straight offer. It's 3 months in Hawaii, and let me think about it for a good second. But that was incredible, like, you know, because obviously the 2 and 3 had moved in a different direction and whatever, and then I don't know, Ted must have just Terry must have remembered that character or whatever and brought it back, and it was wonderful to go back and see catch up with a few guys from the first one and everything. It was brilliant.
Yeah, Marty, how was that for you, Martin? Coming, I mean, obviously they kind of went a different direction with Stranger Things. It sort of was its own side story, but then they bring the whole crew back in 5, which was so great to see. What was it like returning after like one movie off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I was on the phone with. I kept asking Kevin, "Hey, have you heard anything about a Pirates 4?" And he kept. Unfortunately, he was lying to me because he didn't want to hurt my feelings. He's like, "Oh man, I haven't heard anything." And I find out, and then one of the fans was like, "Hey, is it true you're not going to be in the next movie?" You know, and I'm like, "They're doing one." You know, so I called Lee and Mackenzie were supposed to be back, and then whatever fell through, maybe obligations, and so when I wasn't back for 4, I was like, "Okay, it's done." And then when they called for 5, I was like, "Heck yeah!" I mean, the only problem I love Australia, don't get me wrong, but 7 months in Australia, I never touched the beach except when we were shooting, just because where they had us was in like some like really touristy bar area. So it was like if you go outside, you know, it just was a little bit too much. Yeah. And actually, one of our actors got jumped at one of the clubs. So I won't say who it was, but I think he talked back to somebody, and 2 guys took care of that. They had to send the actor home for a couple of weeks so he could, you know, nurse his ego. But otherwise, it was great. I mean, I still think we had the most fun doing 2 and 3.
Oh yeah.
1 is the best of all of them. Don't get me wrong, but 2 and 3, we were out there for like a year, right, Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Singapore was amazing.
Where was that film? Where was 2 and 3 filmed?
It was back in the Caribbean. We did a lot of it on stage because Singapore, they got the biggest stage at Universal, and they actually not drowned it, but they made it into a big pool and built the sets. So we were, you know, on the water leading up, but it was really just inside of a stage.
That was a rad set because that was all too. They had everything built like a real town. So all the geography where that bathhouse was when we came in with the coconuts and were swimming under with the straws and broke in and then break into the bathhouse. That was really under the bathhouse. I mean, it was all lined up so they could do a shot. There weren't cutaway sets. It was rad. But I think that's another part of the equation that we need to like mention too. It's like all the great artists that make us look so good in Hollywood, from the effects people, but also just like the actual construction guys, the production design, costume design. Oh my gosh, you know, and Penny Rose for costume.
Oh,
in the first movie, you basically stripped naked and stood in front of her, and she went like, try that piece of cloth. She just would create a costume and kind of drape it on you. And I mean, brilliant the way she composed the costume, and like she's a powerful character.
We have someone who wants to be a little pirate here. I'm sorry if he's
yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
All right.
What's your little pirate's name?
You're doing
ironically, it's Jack.
Nice.
Really is.
Remember, Lee, I didn't know they were doing 2 and 3, and I didn't find out till Penny Rose calls me and says, "Marty, could you come down for a fitting?" And I was like, "For what?" She goes, "Have they not called you? They're doing
I like your English accent, by the way."
I'm like, "I'll be right down." And I got down there, and Lee was in the hotel room, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was great. I mean,
yeah,
this movie, the first Pirates came like it's such a great time for me personally. Like, and then, you know, I grew up in Southern California. So for whatever reason, from going to Disneyland as a kid, like Jack's age, it was something about the Pirates. And it's like one of those moments where like to become your childhood kind of like, and then to pass that on to the next generation of kids who now have kids. I mean, it's a cool business we're in, you know, as actors in the modern day with to do, especially in the film and the television and the animation stuff that lasts forever. So, I mean, I have so much gratitude and love for my castmates and for the fans. And I mean, one hell of a life, you know, we always said, live the ride, and we're really living a great ride, you know?
Yeah, and no pun intended. The actual ride was Pirates of the Caribbean too.
No,
so you lived the ride. You filmed the ride. Yeah, you filmed the ride, and now you're part of the ride. You're in the ride. Well,
right?
yeah, my gosh. Yeah, sorry, Vince. Go ahead.
What's great about being in the movie is that now that my kid is old enough, he gets on Disney Plus and he watches Pirates. I don't know how many times he's watched the first one, but he's watched them all. And that's the best part for me is that, Daddy, there you are. You know, I'm walking in. I go, what are you watching? Oh, you're watching Pirates again? Yeah, Daddy, I'm watching Pirates again.
So funny you say that because I have the exact opposite experience. Jackie the other day, for the first time ever, because I haven't really shown him anything, Pirates came on the TV, and I said, "Oh, honey, Mommy's gonna come on." I'm not even sure he understands what it is that I do, and I came on, and instantly he goes, "Turn it off, Mommy, turn it off." I was like, "Why? No, turn it off." He doesn't want to see me in any other way, so it's pretty funny. I'm not sure if he loves Pirates, but I'm not sure if he'll appreciate it one day. It's funny how they respond.
That's hilarious. He'll appreciate it for sure one day. Like you said, it's a Disney fan thing. It's a Pirates fan thing. It's gonna last forever. LA, really quickly, Vanessa. Disney princess is watching. You were talking about your wig. Says your hair is beautiful, and that's why you don't need a wig. So you look.
Oh, thanks, LA Disney princess.
Speaking of Disney, and you were talking, Lee, about like growing up with the ride and then being a part of it. One of the questions from our fans was just because I know obviously they added Johnny in. They added Martin, your character's in somewhere too, right? On Tom Sawyer Island, I believe they like make reference to your character, but I don't know. Aaron Ogawa.
I'm on Tom Sawyer Island.
Oh, that was Pin. Oh, that's you, Lee. That's you.
Joe and Rigetti are like somewhere there's a place where you reach trying to steal some gold, and then our skeletal heads come down.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
That's fun. That's fun. Have you guys been? Yeah. So Aaron Ogawa was asking just any favorite Disneyland memories, either, before the movie, which you kind of spoke about, Lee, or getting, afterwards, knowing that like, you're part of that legacy of that ride.
Well, Lee and I did we did a Disney cruise, which was cool. I mean,
nice.
Expenses paid, the whole night. We had to do it for like spend, a couple hours with our fans, which we were doing all day and night anyway. So, we stopped off at Castaway Islands and got a whole tour of the boat. And I mean, that is the cleanest ship I've ever seen. That even in the motor room, right, Lee? It was like spit. You could eat off the floor down in the motor room. That's how clean they kept that place. But it was fun.
I actually haven't been to Disneyland yet, but
what?
I know. Well, I was meant to come over. Was it the first premiere or maybe it was the fourth one, which the premiere was actually in.
The first three were all in.
But I was living in the UK at the time, and I think I was just about to move over to LA. But my daughter, I just had a daughter. She was 2 there last Monday, so I cannot wait until she's of age. It'll probably be another couple of years, and then we'll go down. And but we've got Disney Plus and everything, so I'm still supporting the mouse.
This night, his 4th birthday was just at Disney. We just went masked up and all.
Love it. I mean, kids love it. It's the happiest place, especially for the 4-year-old. And like for the adults that are still fans of Disney, it's just because they're just got a lot of kid in them, And so, because I've been so lucky with doing Grumpy too, right? So like I play Grumpy, and that was so fun because there's so many fans through the princess world that I've met also through. So I get the pirate, which is the boy, young boy kind of options there, right? For a lot of that, and the princess thing. So it's pretty neat. I mean, like I don't take it lightly, like when the kids come and go, they think it's cool. Like what Vince said, my own kid or other people's, you know, it's great to be a storyteller.
Yeah. But even adults, I meet, there's such affection for those movies. Like,
that's what I mean. They have a lot of kid in them, you know, that's what I'm saying.
And it just reawakens on, everyone's got such a fondness for those movies. Like, because they're, there's an innocence to them, and there's a throwback, as someone was saying earlier, to the old epic, glorious sort of Hollywood movies. Like, and as you were saying, Vanessa, like when you saw those vistas and those images in the Caribbean, man, it's just, you know, it's on an epic scale, and it's just wonderful, like, you know, and their escapism, which everyone needs all the time, you know, so
especially now.
With CGI too, like we didn't really talk about the impact that this movie had on the industry as a whole through the return of ILM to prominence as a visual effects, you know, powerhouse.
Yeah, they Academy Award. They won the Academy Award for second one.
Yep. Or something, right?
Yeah, so, crazy. Yeah.
That was a big part, in film changed forever. Like Marty said, the first movie, you know, they were flying cans of film, and even I think the second, to and fro, and maybe the third. So the digital stuff they were maybe doing as backup, but not as like the primary recording. You know, the cameras weren't digital, right? So the ability of the Davy Jones crew, as different to the zombies that we were, the advancement of technology, all with this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans want to know about the scene where we're walking underwater. And I tell them how we shot that scene, and how it's kind of neat how they break it down, how we had to walk in front of a camera, but we were on an elevated platform with walking through 10 inches of sand as fast as we possibly could, while a camera is facing straight at us and to the side of us, and a fan was blowing on us. And then they slowed it down and made it like we were walking underneath water. It's just kind of neat how they did all that. It really was.
There's a great, there's a great behind the scenes, I think came out with the DVD or something like that, where they show you guys doing it, and then they overlay all the effects, you know what I mean, one at a time. And you really see the process at work. And then, my God, Davy Jones and his crew, and that one of the best animated characters of all time, I think, Davy Jones, in terms of computer animated from a performance, a mocap. Wow. Let's talk a little bit about the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
I'm just gonna say one thing about Bill Nighy's performance there.
Yeah.
It's like when, you know, that dude, he's such a great actor, and he didn't even know he was CGI when he showed.
Oh wow.
And so, but he convinced them to use his eyes, and so that's what makes that character, is the performance. Like I look at that performance as a next gen lesson in film acting, because his eyes played so much of the story of the pain of that character. The rest of it was computer. It was like a real synergistic, amazing performance. Kind of goes under the radar sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and Captain Jack Savvy mentioned it. I was going to say this too. It's the mix of practical sets and digital, I think, that really pulls the film together. You know, the dedication to both. You mentioned the construction workers and the set design. I think nowadays we steer too much towards digital, you know, and then you don't feel like you're really there. So a lot of fans are talking about so many specific like moments and scenes. They're asking Isaac about filming in the Isla de Muerta. There's a question for you, Vince, about your beard being on fire. I kind of want to like lump this in to sort of one question for everybody, and everybody could talk a little bit about it. Was there one? This comes from Regina King, also Josh P. Seidel. All these action scenes, the fighting scenes, you know what I mean? Was there a particular like difficult moment, or something that you like remember being like particularly hard or difficult in filming and sword fighting and having your beard on fire?
Well, I mean, the first time they lit it, and then just those incense going up my nose, and just, you know, having a hard time breathing. And the first time that I lit the bombs off my beard was on the back lot over at Universal. And I didn't rehearse it. I had no clue what was going on. those bombs, and when I lit, I went, oh shit, that scream natural. It was just like, oh shit, I gotta go over here, I gotta throw it. So and I couldn't see either because this, the instant smoke and all that going into my eyes really irritated them. But hey, got through, and it was a lot of fun, and great time. What a blast.
I challenge any of you men to do this stuff in a corset.
Hey.
I have a corset on right now.
Oh, all right.
Let's see it.
That's Keira Knightley's big line too, I think, Vanessa, right? Doesn't she say like,
yeah,
not as tough without a corset? Yeah.
It's true though. It's true.
I did drag in the first movie, and I had to row a boat in the Caribbean in a corset, and that sucked.
They didn't really put the corset on.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they sure did.
Checks down.
Right.
He just pulled the pirate.
Huh?
What'd you say, Martin?
I think the kid just pulled a stunt.
Yeah, he's a future stunt person, and that's a pretty big drop for that size. You know what I mean?
You know what I missed was our late night poker games that we would have at the hotel. That was a lot of fun.
That's right. I remember in the fourth one on Stranger Tides, my actual death was I had Ian McShane's Blackbeard obviously is going for Barbossa, Jeffrey, and I stand in front, or I think I sort of go to help Jeffrey, and he actually pulls me right in front of him. So Ian kills me, and Ian actually, the sword he had with this huge, really heavy sort of cutlass type thing, which must have weighed about 10 pounds, and he's meant to fake hitting the back of my head, and the camera's right here to get my reaction, and I have to pretend to be, and Ian was like, wasn't too comfortable rehearsing this, and he was like, oh no. I just said, you just stay about a foot away, so you don't go near the head at all. And he rehearsed it about 5 times with the stunt guy, and of course, roll camera action, clunk, he smacks me right in the head with this thing, and my face just went right. And Rob Marshall went, we've got it, great shot. Thank God that was it. So we had the shot, but this sort of cartoon Bugs Bunny lump came up through my wig, but so that was a good memory from the fourth, but.
Yeah, I think for me, I think there was a day where Johnny and I were only set alone, and I had to throw him in the jail in the bowels of the ship. And if you remember, the ship had water, it was taking on water downstairs. So anyway, they had us on a gimbal stage. It was a stage that rocks back and forth. So they had water on there, about 6 to 8 inches of water, and they kept slathering the floor with this slimy black stuff to make it more glistening in this film and in this camera. And so I'm just supposed to walk with him to the cage with my hand on his shoulder, put him in the jail, and then shut the door. So we did it a couple of times. And one time, I remember holding on to the shoulder. Next thing I remember, the next second, I'm laying on my side in the water because it was so slippery because our boots didn't have any kind of traction on it at all. And they're like, Isaac, are you okay? I just looked up at Johnny and said, aren't you glad I let go of your shoulder? Because I'm taking him down with me. But yeah, I was like, 1 minute I'm standing, next minute I'm laying sideways in this water, all wet.
That's the first time I met Lee. It was down there. They were doing that scene where Lee's telling a story, and he kept slopping back and forth as they're mopping, and the slop kept getting on us. So I was like, all right, I'm going to mosey my way, even though I'm the little guy. So they keep wanting to keep me up front so I get some camera time. I'm like, yeah, this is one of those times I don't care if I'm not in the camera. And he's out of the way because Lee slopping it would come up on me. And then I just remember that, I'm telling a story in my head. So yeah, that was the first time I met Lee.
Lee Regina Queen watching has a very specific question about your teeth. She said, totally weird question, but I always wondered this. What did they use to make the teeth darker makeup wise?
They were
prosthetic teeth.
Yeah, they were prosthetic. Yeah. They were clip-ins.
Yeah,
so they would come in and
have
out.
my teeth still.
Yeah, I think I have a pair of them somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was real funny because everyone would be like to the makeup artist when craft service would come around with something, and it's like, can someone hold my teeth?
The pirate's life for me, right? Scott Birch, we're on that sort of chain of things you have. Obviously, Teeth, you get to take with you, but any other mementos or props from the set? Obviously, there was a ton of beautiful costumes, beautiful set pieces. Oh, Vince is going to get something right now. Scott Birch wants to know any. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, they're just a lot better than the.
There we go.
I got my sword.
Before they used to paint them.
Oh, nice. Oh, you're cursed, Vince. You're cursed. Oh, he stole a piece of the Aztec gold. Classic.
I've got a couple of those. I've also got my sword as well.
Yeah, I got my sword also.
Oh, that's nice.
I got my shoes. That's it.
I didn't get anything.
I got.
I think you just have to.
Aztec gold. I remember getting a piece of Aztec gold.
You know where
the swords.
Yeah, I remember that last day when we were shooting in that cave, and me, you, Orlando, Johnny, and Gore, we just kind of were like at the treasure chest, like,
We all took some.
Just like take a look at these coins here.
Pirate, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that was a brilliant talk about like the great set. Like, on the first movie, most of it was shot on stage. There was that great castle that you were talking about, Damien, that was actually, if people that know Southern California, it was built on the grounds of the old Marine land.
Was that where it was?
Yeah, in Palos Verdes with that incredible view.
Palos Verdes was okay.
Mm-hmm. And so when we went on for the second and third, fourth and fifth, it was a lot of location stuff. And that too is a credit for the success of the franchise.
Yeah.
And the way that Jerry's such a baller producer.
Yeah, he's
one of the last great movie producers that, would go to the real location so that we could have those moments, Vanessa, of actors where we see the sunrise. People go like, what was it like making the movies? I was like, we, got to spend a couple years in the Caribbean, take a speedboat to work and hang with Keira Knightley all day. I mean, it's a magic time. You know?
No, the Isla de Muerta, such a beautiful set. And then talk about the practical effects in that scene. Going in and out of the moonlight was such a brilliant move, directing wise and effects wise. And you just get so pumped. Every scene, you're just like constantly getting so more and more excited about like what's going to happen next. Vanessa, I'm sorry you didn't get anything. You just have to like take things like all the guys did is apparently what it comes down to.
I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Joel says the kid in the background is very animated. Perhaps a future Disney actor? Question mark.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. I want to get to one final question. We're almost out of time, but I want to remind the fans, you've had a ton of fun questions in here, a lot of good chatter, a lot of big Pirates fans talking about all the pirate festivals they've been to all across the U.S. Not only Pirates of the Caribbean, but as you mentioned before, Isaac, just pirate fans, ton of families watching, people reintroducing their kids to it. So super cool. But remember, if you didn't get your question asked today, or you have a very specific question for one of our actors or all of them, head to wizardworldvault.com, wizardworldvirtual.com, and purchase those video recorded messages, autographs, and one-on-one chats. They're taking place next week. But I want to get to our last question from an official cosplayer, Captain Jack Sparrow. He lives in the UK. He's known as Captain Dan Sparrow. He's going to be joining us midweek for a rewatch party. So we get together, hang out with a bunch of nerds, and we watch a lot of our favorite moments of the panel. And we bring on cosplayers and podcasters and stuff. So he's going to be joining us this week. But his question is, on all our minds, a lot of people are chatting. Just what are your thoughts about the future of the franchise? Obviously, there's been talks about a 6, you know what I mean? Without, there's been talks of a spinoff. I know they announced recently potentially a spinoff with like a female lead, which I think would be super awesome.
Margot Robbie, right?
Margot Robbie. Yeah. With the same writer as Harley Quinn, same writer director. So I think a female take on it would be amazing and a cool take. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Some of you are dead, obviously. Some of you are still alive and kind of walked off into the sunset. But hey, it's the Pirates world. Anybody can really come back. But what are your personal thoughts on like the continuation of the franchise in the series?
I mean, I personally think I would love to see it. I mean, whether I'm involved or not, just because. Every time that there's a really special world that you fall in love with like that, you don't want it to end. You get to the end and then you rewatch it because you're like, no, I still want to be able to be there. And I think this is one of those situations. So to see it carried on well. I mean, you know, of course you would want it to be carried on well, but I love the idea of there being a female Jack Sparrow. That would be super cool.
I'm on the fence either way. I mean, it'll be hard to watch the movie without Johnny, but I don't know. I mean, would it work? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. You know, because he
just
truly.
warned you. That doesn't mean there's another one that's going to be. If they do another one with the guys, that's totally different. The Margot Robbie one is a.
Oh, it's totally. Oh, I got you. Okay.
There's two different ideas. Yeah, there's two different things in motion. Yeah. There's
now,
like a 6.
Now whether Johnny still does another one. I mean.
Yeah.
I was scared when I saw that. You know, the Fantastical Beast thing, and I'm like, oh God, I hope Disney doesn't do something. You know, trying to replace Johnny, because you won't get people there if it's not Johnny. I don't think anyway, but I mean, he is Captain Jack Sparrow, and
that's true.
Oh yeah,
you can't recast that.
But it was always.
I would say, how do you have a movie about Jesus without Jesus? How can you have a pirate movie without Captain Jack?
I mean, honestly, like, I'm with you in that what he has done for all of us as like as a movie star, that is a gentleman that was great to work with, that is like, I mean, I think the most popular question I get asked is, what was Johnny like?
Yeah.
I get asked that a lot. And that's, I tell people that he is a class dude.
Truly a class
and
act.
So that's the reverberation that I hope, continues around the world for Johnny. That's the truth about Johnny. And of course, I mean, there can't be a Jack Sparrow movie without Johnny as Jack, but there should be more pirate movies because they're so fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if they got a well-written script, it'll come out well.
Yeah, Isaac, you mentioned a good script. Yeah, Damien, what were you saying?
Well-written script, good director, and it'll come out spectacular.
Well, and a lot of people are even talking about the other characters. A lot of people are asking, like, what happened to Pintel and Ragetti? Like, what happens to Marty? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm available. Please call my agent.
Lee's like, I'm right here. Yeah. David, what were you saying a little bit just about the movie?
No, I just said that there's a whole such a rich world that has been built up through all the 5 films that you could easily go off in another direction, like, a bit like maybe Disney have done with the Star Wars franchise. Go back and tell it someone else's story, an origin story or something like that. And it's great. And as Lee was saying, pirate movies are fun, and this one broke the mold again because it was a bit like all those sword and sandals movies, which the studios wouldn't go near until Gladiator was such a big hit. And what was it? Was it Cutthroat Island or something was the last thing before us in '96 with Matthew Modine, which hadn't really done great business at all. And all the studios were terrified of doing a Pirates movie. And it was seen as a big risk doing this because even though, it was it was quite a big budget relatively for the time for
that was $100 million
to take a punt on a new idea and stuff, and then suddenly boom, it made such a big splash, pun intended, I suppose. But the more the merrier, I think, as long as the writing's there and the characters are as great, because and the fans still want it because that's the most important thing, isn't it?
I think the fans definitely want it. I'll speak for myself and then everybody in the chat right now. We definitely want it. And I think the brilliance of the script is that sure, Captain Jack Sparrow is the heart of pirates, but he's never the main character. You know what I mean? There's other people doing things, like in terms of propelling the plot. You know what I mean? He's there and he's fumbling around, kind of getting in the way of the main characters. And that's what's so beautiful is you can have him pop in, pop out, and we still will care about the movie. I'd love to see like Gibbs and crew, like a spin-off Gibbs and crew and the crew just off on their own little adventures and things like that.
A weekend in Tortuga.
A weekend in Tortuga. Spin-off. Yeah, then we get Vanessa, we get Giselle back. You know what I mean? I love it.
Got 10 kids running around.
We are out of time. I can't tell you what an honor this has been. I've been a huge fan since the beginning, so I appreciate you all taking some time out of your day to hang out with me and hang out with the 100 fans watching all across the world. Shout out. We had Germany just check in and asked a couple of questions as well. So, oh, nice, excellent. Everyone's starting to shout out all their favorite lines from the movie. So let's just go around one last time from each one of you. Just a quick shout out to all the fans. Let us know what, maybe one thing that you have coming up that we can see you in. But just one more real shout out to all the fans watching from around the world in the chat. I'm just going to go in order on my screen. Damien, why don't we start with you?
I've actually got a little bit in a new Angelina Jolie movie just coming out in 2 weeks' time called Come Away. It's a lovely story. It's about the Peter Pan origins and stuff, and I've got a few nice scenes with Angelina in it, so look out for that. It's a really nice movie.
Awesome. Isaac?
I am just happy, healthy, still doing my voiceovers for a lot of cartoons and video games. I was starting a film, but we just had to shut it down because our line producer got COVID, so that's going to be on hold until 2 weeks. And then, if people want to contact me or DM me, just go to Isaac Singleton Jr. at Instagram, because it's Isaac, ISAAC, Singleton Jr.
Very nice. Thanks, Isaac. I know I speak for another Nerdverse, the Marvel and the gamer crew, when we say we love you as Thanos. So thank you for continuing to do Thanos over the last 10 years. You've been awesome.
Yes,
thanks for that.
I will destroy all of you. Just listen to me.
Who doesn't want to pay for that voice recording? Come on, y'all. That's worth it right there. That's worth it. Lee, tell us a little about where we can see you next. Or
man, I'm always on the hustle, my friends. I just have a lot of gratitude. Auditioning. I'm doing a lot of Zoom theater. Check out my social for when we go public with some of the stuff I'm working on. But just living in gratitude. I just want to say to everyone, thanks for being a fan of Pirates and of mine. Thanks to y'all, I live at the beach. Find me at Lee Ehrenberg on all the social platforms and, keep chatting about it. Thanks.
Angel Rosario Jr. and Jeremy Ravenscroft just said parlay in the chat. So, Marty, tell us about yourself.
Busy right now training for the next Planet of the Apes. They're going to start shooting the beginning of next year. And then
nice.
I got an anime Pacific Rim that I'm doing a character in, and
that's cool.
Really loving doing that. Just being able to go into a studio and do everything, and then going home is kind of nice. And you get to stay home with your family, so that's good. And other than that, that's about it. Just loving raising my daughter and my wife, and we're all good.
Awesome, thanks. Vince, I want to say quick before we turn to you, Vince, a particular shout out to all y'all. A lot of times we're working through managers and brokers and things, but this was a real love fest that came together. It started with Lee being like, we got to get everybody together. Vince, you were super integral and reaching out. Marty, I know too, you all love each other and are still friends. And it was so cool to see this panel come together just by everybody texting each other and being like, let's get the crew back together. So I wanted to say thanks to all y'all for putting this together. But yeah, Vince, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
That's the best part about this is that we're all still friends here 7 years later, and really friends, so that's what I love about it. I got a boxing documentary that I produced and directed that's coming out real soon, a docu-series. I got a film coming out called Promising Young Women and a TV series called Golden Revenge. So just out there staying humbled and being grateful for what I have and being a dad. And when this pandemic is over, I'll be a school teacher and I'll be a black belt in karate.
Picking up those hobbies. Well, speaking of parenting, Vanessa, obviously you're an amazing parent as well, but tell us a little bit about what you have coming up.
Thanks to all the fans for allowing my small person to be here the entire time that we've been doing this. And so good to see all of you guys. I miss seeing your faces. So nice to see you. And to the fans, we're so lucky to have had such a loyal fan base, and I've met so many people over the years who are just lovely and love talking to you. But as far as for me, motherhood kind of put me on a different path. Not that I'm not going back to acting, but for the past 3 years now, I've been working on something that's finally launching in January.
Awesome.
It is a site for pregnancy fitness. We've shot beautiful videos, workout videos all over the world. And it was kind of my passion project and all about becoming a mother and motherhood. So if anyone out there is a mom or going to be pregnant soon or just had a baby, it's called Fabulous Fit Pregnancy. It will launch in January and you can check that out there.
Very cool. Very amazing. Thank you, Vanessa. And yeah, you spoke about the fans, ton of them watching. Also want to shout out to there's some of the favorite Instagram accounts and social media links out there that helped us post about today at Pirates_in_the_Caribbean, then at Pirates of the Caribbean memes, and then of course at A Pirate's Life _ and Captain Dan Sparrow. Check out his amazing Jack Sparrow cosplay. We are so excited. Later on this evening, everybody, we have the cast from the original Cabin Fever movie. This week, we have Summer Bichelle from The Magicians, and then next week, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cast and the cast of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, all coming up on Wizard World Virtual Experiences. My name is Mike G. I've been your moderator. On behalf of Wizard World, I want to thank the entire cast of one of my favorite franchises of all time, Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's give one more big round of emojis to Damian O'Hare, Isaac Singleton Jr., Lee Arenberg, Martin Cleva, Vince Lozano, and Vanessa Branch, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.